I had to put extra.
Here is where we find out who we actually are by taking steel weapons and placing ourselves at the hazard against our friends and enemies and fighting as if our lives depended on it. It is as close as we can without actually killing people regularly.
My name is Beth Hammer. I am a graphic designer in Seattle, Washington.
My name is Rusty Wagner. I'm a petroleum compliance technician.
Annie Martini. I'm a veterinary technician.
I'm known as Avalok Twiceborn. I am the captain of the USA SEAL team.
My name is Bryce Shirley. I am a zookeeper at Memphis Zoo.
My name is Jonathan McCartney. My occupation is I'm a manager at a GNC.
I'm a polearm fighter. My occupation is workers' comp insurance clerk.
My name is Nicholas Homa. I am a 5th grade math teacher in Shelby County Schools.
Everyone is scared at some point.
Yeah, you're scared when you're out there.
Of course, that happens. That's part of the anvil. That's where you get to find out. If you're not afraid, you're kind of insane. Any sane man would be afraid.
My first time I put on armor, I got knocked on my ass 5 times, but I kept getting back up. My friend was like, "How come you're getting back up? Just stay on the ground." I was like, "No, I can't." And I literally went until I could not stand up anymore. Every little boy thinks of being a knight in shining armor and getting to do this.
First time I saw it, honestly, it clicked. You got to put on the armor of a knight and take up a real sword, and you got to just interact with that whole atmosphere.
This is very similar to what they would have done in medieval times.
There's a few differences between then and now.
It was probably more dangerous then.
I have a respect for them, thinking that they were actually out there fighting with their life on the line, wearing all the stuff that we're wearing now.
Come on, Johnny! Come on, Johnny!
Our fighting styles can be greatly different because we have different influences coming from other martial arts backgrounds.
It really encompasses all of the different skills that I have and train, and like in pro fights, like it's the fact that I get to punch people in the face with steel gauntlets.
We are a modern sport. A lot of our guys try and make their armor as much like they would have done it back then, their armor, their weapons, etc.
Historically, we try to keep it as accurate as possible.
But ultimately, this truly is a modern sport.
Not a fist fight.
Just like we watch sports nowadays on TV, this is what people watched in the Middle Ages, and that's very much what we're doing.
I think that the knights of old, though they wouldn't see us as the level of killers that they were,
They probably asked why we were using blunted weapons.
they would see us as men and women who are seeking to be the best that we can be, and that would be something they'd admire.
I think that they might be happy that we're trying to keep these traditions going. Probably would think that we all suck because we have desk jobs.
They'd probably critique the way we're fighting quite a bit.
You have to fight that first instinct to kind of like flinch or move back or avoid the shot because you don't realize how protective the stuff's going to be until you get hit that first time.
You take the first one, you're like, oh, this is nothing. You really just go, ow. You can't do anything else because they're not going to call the fight when somebody hits you. That's the whole point.
You feel like a tank in this stuff. It really doesn't hurt.
Of course it's dangerous.
And you're letting someone swing a steel rod at your head as hard as they can.
You can seriously fuck yourself up.
What game is worth a rap for a rational man to play into which no mishap could possibly find its way?
I just chipped a tooth, so that happens too.
For some people, it's just the fact that this is really challenging. This is a combat sport in which you're wearing tons of weight. It's a miserable feeling when you're in the armor and you got to push yourself through like just a pretty awful experience to come out on top.
Let me tell you, there's nothing more therapeutic when you're irritated or whatever than taking a big chunk of steel and beating another man about the head and shoulders until you feel better.
Some people do it for like glory. A lot of people do it just to try themselves.
When I discovered that this was, an actual sport and I could actually train in armor and use steel weapons, I was like, this is amazing.
Because swords are cool? Pretty much because swords are cool.
I find this to be an excellent chance to really like hone your skills and really test your mettle, both figuratively and literally against somebody else.
I like beating up people.
Generally speaking, I'm not like scared when I go out to like face an opponent. I'm pretty confident in my ability to give as good as I can get.
And I see a lot of guys that are a lot bigger than me. When initially I look at them, I'm kind of worried, but after that, once I get in armor, I'm fine. I don't have to worry about that. I just need to worry about myself. I'm not worried about how big the guy is. I'll still go after him.
Before I'm getting ready to fight a hard fight, take water, spit, whatever I can into the palms of my gauntlet. It's a mental stepping into where I need to be to do what has to be done.
A lot of people want to be amped up.
Gonna drink a Red Bull and then like take some deep breaths and then just try to not be too nervous.
I try to get alone and think in my head, try to influence all those negative thoughts that I'm having just towards pure aggression.
Brain sort of turns off and you're left with what you trained, and a lot of stuff goes into autopilot.
That's the hardest part, I think, is just really trying to think through everything. Once the adrenaline takes hold, it's very much fight or flight.
Some people say it's a chess match. You go out there and you plan 5 steps ahead, but the first time you get punched in the face, that goes away.
Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy.
I'll have like pre-competition nerves, but they go away pretty quick once they get going.
It's this rush that you've never felt before. The way that the adrenaline hits you, your body tells you, hey, move out of the way, you're trying to stop this. But there are times that when you do get hit in the head and you just see it coming, you know that your armor's going to hold up. You know that you're going to be able to take that hit.
Fear is for the weak.
Every time you get hit, your brain's immediately thinking the next move, the next maneuver, the next grapple, the next punch, the next kick, the next slash, the next way you're going to make sure he can't hit you, and the way that you're going to make him move out of your way. Because the other guy is in your way.
I have been exhausted at the end of fights. I have been euphoric at the end of fights. I have been depressed at the end of fights.
After the fight, I feel alive.
Tired and kind of like a happy feeling.
You hurt for a few days afterwards, and you'll be okay.
I love it, especially if I win.
And the winner is Beth.
This is a test of yourself. It depends on if you fail or pass. It depends upon where you are physically. You know more about yourself every time you come off that field.
That was my first fight, and I went against a gold medalist.
And how do you feel right now?
Now I'm tired. It was fun. I have a lot to learn.
Not LARP. This is as close to it as it gets. Everything has to be within 50 years of each other. All your armor has to match. All your weapons need to match.
It is real steel. It's not fake. It's a real sport, and
It's awesome, and you should try it.